what happened to me is the worst possible outcome. There's nothing gets worse than that. Do you know what I mean? Every year it's going to be on knockout of the year 2024. Do you know what I mean? But it was just the biggest kick-off ever. And next week I was boxing Joyce in the ABA final, and basically I'm thinking, I can't be throwing hands. I need my hands for next week. And I can just remember being in the middle of this rumble, just no-handed, just nutting people and wrestling people, because I thought I can't use my hands. I think a knocked over drink turned into a fight, which turned into me getting stabbed 3 times. In the neck as well. In the neck. And then in the leg twice, in the arse, yeah. And you're one of the main witnesses to the Westminster terrorist attack. Yeah. Which is mind-blowing. Welcome back to Beyond the Play on the Stomping Ground. I'm Oscar Bevis, and this is my co-host, who is already 2-0 down today. 1-0 down to his car tyre, 2-0 down to my voicemail. Yeah, he's 10-0 me. Mate, have you ever called him? No. I've called him, mate. He's got this childish fucking voicemail. So it's like, hello? And I was like, yo, you've never answered the phone like that. And it's like, done ya. Leave a message afterwards. And I was like, prat. And I had to fold him and give him a bit of stick. So yeah, it's been a shit day. But we're here. We're living. Life's good. Nice upbeat way to start the podcast. Yeah, we got big phase. It's 2025. We're having a tear up. What a guest, by the way. Commonwealth gold medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, and I will say one of the gems of British boxing. Thank you for joining us, Frazer. How's life? All good, mate. All good. It's a new year, innit? We're in January, so everyone's all systems go. Big health kick. Set my goals, and now we just got to stick to them and do it. I was going to say, I've seen that you're back in the gym. Are you fighting off the newbies for the bag, the treadmill? So at the minute, my current gym... There we go. That way. There you go. Yeah, so at the minute, my actual gym, I train at the University at Loughborough. It's being refurbed, the floor's being done. So I'm just currently in local gym, which I like, but it's mad, you can't get much done. I'm talking all the while, you know, in the local gym. But now I'm enjoying it, man, it's good. I'm going to ask you the question that I bet everyone in the gym is probably asking you. How has the recovery been both mentally and physically from that fight with Fabio? Yes, it was shit, man. I've had don't sugarcoat it. No, I could, you know, like when you're here and I'm speaking to you guys, I don't have to sugarcoat. That's a good thing. So basically, like I can say, like I said to a million people, oh, it's all right. Yeah, I'm on the up now. You know, it's been and gone. But it was just shit, man. It was just a shit time in your life. Like when that's your job and your profession, what happened to me is the worst possible outcome. There's nothing gets worse than that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was for a few months. It was just fucking every day was a struggle. But now, as much as obviously I'm always gonna get reminded of it because every year it's gonna be on knockout of the year 2024. Do you know what I mean? But you do just have to sort of get on with these things. You know, like the more you think about it, I'm a fighter, and in my game, and you're a big fight, heavyweight, people get knocked out, and I didn't get knocked out, but I got hurt, and that's what happened, man. It's what it is. I was gonna say, from like obviously football, you lose, a couple of days later you play again, you kind of get over it so quickly. What is the mental preparation? Do you remove yourself from like the socials because obviously that's a bit mad, or do you just go dive back into family because obviously you're a family man? And like, how does it work in your case? So I think the first thing is socials. Like, I can remember being in the hospital in Saudi, my jaw was hanging off my face, and I'm deleting apps because I'm thinking I can't deal with that right now. Do you know what I mean? It is a little bit embarrassment, not like. I'm proud of my achievements in boxing, but it's embarrassing, you know, when that happens to you. There's no way to sugarcoat it. That is a nightmare. If you're me, that's like you scoring an own goal like in a cup final. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was just shit. But I think it showed a lot, you know, about my character and stuff like that. Like Derek Chisora, you know, I've got big up with him. People like him, Tony Bellew, and they were the people, you know, like reaching out to me when I'm not answering the phone to no one. I'm seeing these numbers ring me. I'm not really answering. And Chisora, Bellew, AJ, loads of good pros, but I'd say especially Chisora was ringing me. And Chisora said to me, he said, I'm not going to stop ringing until you answer your phone. And if you don't answer your phone, I'm going to come find you He goes, so they answered the phone. I said, yeah, no, thanks, Derek. He's like, look, it happens, blah, blah, blah. He said, right, next thing, I want you to go to a boxing show. This is like a few weeks after. I'm still like swollen. I was like, Derek, I don't want to go out of the house and see people like that. He's like, you go to a boxing show, otherwise I'm going to come and take you to a boxing show. So I'm just
a Del Boy threat's a serious threat as well.
Yeah, you don't mess about with it. So I've had a load of good pros and just general people, like people to help me through, like the old ladies in the street and stuff. Oh, Ducky, how's your face? You okay? Do you know what I mean? Honest to God, and you think, I thought everyone was going to just slew me, but I think people know me. I'm quite a genuine person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I've had quite a good response in terms of people excited to see me back in the ring, and just sort of like, obviously, what's happened.
Yeah, obviously, I saw you in Brum for Sonny Edwards, Galawi Fire. We done like 10 or so minute interview, and you mentioned in there that you hadn't replied to quite a few messages yet, but there was one from, was it a Nigel Wardley, a Neil Wardley?
Neil Wardley, I replied to him.
Yeah. Fabio's dad actually sent you a lovely message.
Yeah, and
a couple of weeks after.
And this is what I mean. About proper people. Like I try and consider myself one of them. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of fake people in the world. And what I will say about Fabio Wardley is this: when you're preparing to fight someone, you're having essentially a one-on-one, a straightening with someone in a boxing ring. You have animosity towards them. It's just natural, even if they're a nice person. But afterwards, to get like a message from him, a message from his dad, who you don't need to message me. That's my choice to go into that ring and do them fights. I read it again the other day, probably like 2-3 days ago, and I replied to it. I said, listen, thank you for the lovely message. It means a lot. Sorry I've not got back to you. My head's been a bit all over the place, and it's been overwhelming amount of messages. But yeah, man, they're real people and proper people. So I got a lot. Even though he's hurt me and he gave me my first defeat as a pro, I got a lot of love for Fabio Wardley for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a lot of love for.
Sorry, I was say that's a bit that's I think gets lost on the socials and that. Like you're two gladiators. Obviously, I was at the first fight.
I can remember a few times seeing like in the crowd. You spot on people.
Yeah, but you two having a tear up, and it was like, I don't know. It's kind of that moment when you go. You remember when you popped his nose in like the eighth night? It was late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's the first time I've been to loads of shows. I kind of threw up in my mouth. I was like, fuck, that's a bit much, that. But there was a moment towards the end where both of you were like knackered, out on your feet, but you could see the respect. And I don't think that translates on socials, and it certainly doesn't translate through the TV unless you're there. And then I'm watching that fight now in Saudi. Spoke to you the day I remember on Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know Fabio as well through the Ipswich connection with football. And I was like, I just hope none of them get hurt, man. And then literally, fucking, you end up getting hurt. It's like, it's a weird watch. I can watch fighting. If you don't know anyone, you can watch it like, it's cool. But watching you guys, I don't know, it felt like it was two proper blokes clashing. There was a moment where you're just like, can we just call this a draw and you two just leave each other alone? Do you know what I mean? Just because they're good blokes.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, when I've been around Fabio, it's like, not like, it's never been like animosity, like, I don't like this guy. It's always been, I need to fight this guy because I need to see, who's who. Do you know what I mean? It's like that sort of feeling.
Competition.
Competition.
Yeah.
And obviously you get that in sport with certain people. There's certain people in the sport that I can't stand it, and I want to fight with them because you want to inflict pain on them.
We'll get on to them people.
Get on to them ones. But with Fabio, it was never like that. But yeah, man, he just caught me with a shot from God, man, and luckily it wasn't as bad as it looks. I know to a lot of people, I've only recently seen the images. I've never watched it back until about a week ago.
Okay.
Mad.
And yeah, it was concerning.
I don't think I saw a picture pop up more than that one of you in the corner with the way your jaw was. Can't imagine what it's like seeing that from yourself. Can you actually remember being in that moment, or is it a bit of a blur? Because from the first shot that he hit you with to the end of the fight, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 seconds. Can you remember vividly any of that period of time?
So I can remember the first round being like, well, it was in the first round, but the majority of the round I can remember being like quite close, quite cagey. I think he hit me with a jab, hit him back with a good jab. And after that jab, I had some confidence. I thought, I've just caught him like a solid jab there. My problem was, I was probably thinking, I know it was towards the end of the round, I was probably thinking about the next round. if I'm honest. And I've got to give credit here, and I'm not going to say like anything bad, but I can remember getting hit with a shot. I can remember fighting back. Next thing I remember, I'm looking out towards the crowd. Because of the bit where I turned over the rope. And then I half remember seeing a referee, like, I'm thinking the referee's going to come and jump in. Because I thought I'm in a position I can't really do much. You know what I mean? I'm looking the wrong way. He's behind me. I thought the referee was coming. A bit naive from me. Probably should have gone over a bit more and stayed there. I didn't. I turned right. You make a mistake in this game, you get blasted. It's that simple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you, I'm probably jumping a little ahead, but how do you break down, assess, and go, right, we're going to go again? Like what? Because I think the fair thing to say is athletes never think they're, ready for retirement or anything like that. How did you come to the decision of like, yeah, I'm going to do that again? Do you get what I mean? I'm going to get back in there again and prove everyone wrong.
I think it's because I think that version of me was the prime best version that I'd had to this date in my career. Even though the result didn't go the way, I couldn't have felt any better than I felt going into that ring. And because it was only one round and probably 2 or 3 shots, I think nothing's been taken away from me. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, like we know with yourself, you've kind of like you've had that experience, let's say humbling experience, as you've just said. But I feel like most people go ego, get me straight back in, or they go the other way and they go you don't hear off them, you don't see him, you don't do nothing. Yeah. You've kind of done the perfect blend of been in the middle.
I mean,
can I be honest with you and say that I think from speaking to a lot of people in the game, I think a lot of people presumed you might hang the gloves up.
I know, which I just think is crazy. Like,
but then that's what you're talking about. That's the fighter.
Yeah, I want to know. Like, I'm trying to get
ending with this.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the why. Like, you've made good dough. You're doing all right. But I mean, it's like, why? What's the fire that goes, nah, I know I've got more to give?
Because I don't think that's a true representation of myself, that last fight. There's no way after being 11-year-old to where I am now, that's not going to be the last memory of Frazer Clarke in a boxing ring. No way, no shape, no how. And I've heard this a bit. Oh, he's not going to be the same. He's not going to want to take another shot. No one wants to take a shot, but to say I'm not going to be the same, and this is from boxing people and ex-boxers, well, I can just tell this, and then some of these fighters, if it was them that said it, they might have been good fighters, but guess what? We're probably just built different. Like, we're probably just come from completely different places with completely different mindsets. Next time I go into a boxing ring, I'm going in the same way I've always gone in, to win and to hurt someone and to beat someone up. And it's that simple. Like, it's took nothing away from me. The only thing that got dented was my pride and the side of my head. And that was it. That was it. Other than that, I'm still Frazer Clarke. I'm still determined. I'm still game as you can't be no more game than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fighter, like, to the core. So it's not like, that's took something away from him. No.
The thing is, you don't want to be the same, right?
No, I want to be better.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so everyone goes, he's lost something. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's lost a layer that then, there's a freedom to it.
It's just made me, even though I took this game serious anyway, it's made me realise the first couple of years as a pro, that was like my 10th fight. I had the one war with Fabio. You're in Saudi. Maybe I was a bit naive. Oh, this is all beautiful. We're inside. Look at
how a million miles an hour is Saudi?
Oh, it's just mad.
From the second you land, I've seen, obviously, from me and Charlie doing bits with the zone, I've seen the kind of sheet you get, and it will give you timings and they're exact. It doesn't really run on time. It will say 9:15 this, 9:25 this. So I know that Frazer's schedule is going, right, you've got Sky, DAZN, TNT, broadcasters done.
Yeah.
5 Saudi broadcasters, individual YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Like, that's 10 hours of interviews 4 days out from the fight.
How do you nutritionally get that into, because obviously you're prepping to fight, right? But you have to do these media commitments. How is the nutrition with that? Eating, drinking, trying to, because obviously you ain't got to worry about weight, but you still have to feel fueled and not feel tired. Yeah. So I know you take that seriously.
I think my thing is being selfish over there. If and this is gonna sound bad, but if I'm down for Sky TNT at 12:30 and that's lunchtime, and I know I need to eat, I'm going at 2:15. I'm being late. I'm going for my food first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that is probably,
they're still going to be there.
You know the hold-ups.
So I get it now. Now me and Charlie know why nothing runs on time.
No, it's fighters.
Because you got the fighters.
No, of course, because
I get it.
Ultimately, like we're the ones that like we're going for a fight. Like, yeah, your interview or your broadcast, you've got 24 hours in a day, and there's not a lot going on over there, is it? What do we do? How many times I see you walking over to that shopping centre? You go for a coffee.
Mate,
and that's it.
All there is to do is play paddle.
Yeah, it's dead.
That's it. I've got quite good at paddle. I know Charlie will disagree with this. I'll tell you one thing, and because we'll move on from this and kind of, I guess, lift the mood up a bit. Shout out to you, by the way, because we was in the same hotel for the October card, the one we fought Fabio the second time. And me and Charlie saw him in M&S. We was getting some breakfast. He went like this. He went, by the way, boys, any food you want, I've got a complete weekly allowance. Here's my room number. Get whatever you boys want.
Yeah, because because
what gent?
I wouldn't have done it to them too.
I know he fucking
him sharing a ham and cheese toast. I thought, oh my god,
eating it from inside towards each other.
I thought the lads, come on, it can't be this bad. No, like, because it's not cheap. It wasn't cheap to eat.
Do you think we're making money off these podcasts or what? We are sharing ham and cheese toasties, mate.
Oh mate, you know that room bill by the end of it. Oh, it must have been high because anyone that was like there. Obviously, you can go to boxing. There's loads of people that go in there.
Yeah,
not everyone's accredited for. By the end of it, on my room, there's 12 people eating. The bill must have been mad.
Fair play. That shows who you are as a person. I think
that's exactly why I started this by saying what a gem you are.
No, because you would never have said that. It needs the person to say it. Because there's things you do.
I mean, he messaged me before. He said, "Give me a little."
Just make sure you remember that.
There's something I need to clear up, by the way. So I spoke about getting you on the pod. Spoke to Joe and Black Book PR. Ring you and say, I've got someone from your manor on. And then you're like,
no.
Yeah, and then I went, big phrase. And then he was like,
I know where this
he was like, nah. He was like, Burton, Birmingham. I went, mate, look, it's the Midlands. Anything above Watford to me is all the same.
But that's to you guys from down south.
Exactly. And he said to me, he said, if St George's Park was in Birmingham, they'd have no grass left. I don't know anything about Birmingham. So, St George's Park, I think Carlin's brewed there.
But so Birmingham. Birmingham's a city. You know, like, when I was younger, if I'd come to London or I'd go on my holidays, and I'd probably be whatnot, it was speaking to a girl and I say, where you from? I'm from Birmingham.
Yeah.
I'm 30 miles away from Birmingham.
Okay.
And there's no accent where I live. And there's the crime rate is a lot lower. It's like, it's country. It's
nice. So is it a boring question for me to go, what was life like growing up in Burton?
No,
I reckon he was knocking out cows for fun.
This one, the problem is they all have this opinion. Do you know what I mean? Oh my god! If you're not in the city,
no, of course
you ain't real from the middle.
No, but obviously, I would never ever say I'm from Birmingham. It's closer cities to me. You know what I mean? Derby, probably Nottingham. Yeah, they're closer to me.
But Joy, he said when I got someone from your manor coming on, I was like, who's coming on then? And he went, Frazer. I was like, Frazer from Birmingham, bro. I was like, nah, he's Burton. I was like, bro, but that's East Midlands and we're West Midlands.
Yeah, you get that quite a lot though. Yeah. But, if you're saying like Birmingham fires, you're going like the Yaffires. They're like in the city. You know what I'm saying?
Also,
anything above the Watford gap gives me a nosebleed. So to me, that's I don't know what that.
He ain't got a Scooby, mate.
So what was it like growing up in Burton? And actually, talking of when I said I got Big Fraze coming on, did the nickname stick from early? It's not like a boxing related nickname. I take it you were big guy from early on.
Yeah, I was big from early, but the nickname really it was always Fraz, not Big Fraze. That just sort of happened. Being on Team GB, the coach is Big Fraze, and then it just sort of stuck from there. But as a kid, growing up in Burton, it was Fraz, and growing up in Burton is nice. Now I've seen the rest of the world. It was lovely, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I felt safe at all times. Mm-hmm. I know everyone in every little district of the town. I know every corner of that town. I know people. My mum and dad worked really hard. My dad worked away. My mum worked local, looked after us, got me, my brother, my sister. And just, my nan lived 100 metres over the road, my auntie on the same road, uncles, all close. Just a really nice place, mate. But you speak about Burton on Trent, you mentioned Carlin. You speak about Burton on Trent, you're talking about pubs. Pub geezers. That's what we are. We're pub geezers. Pub this. Yeah, that's what people do. Before you walk, you drink pints of Carling. Do you know what I mean? It's just the culture, mate. We're in and out of pubs our whole life.
But I was gonna say it's proper people, because when obviously we used to go there for St George's, and spend a week there. Spending a week at St George's is a nightmare.
Not a lot going on, is there?
Now, so you just jump in a taxi, go into Burton. Do you know what I mean? Get a bite to eat, have a curry, go to a pub. If you ever had a day off, anyway, that's what you'd do. Yeah. And if you was clever like me, you just sneak out the back and do it anyway. But I just think you're around proper people, and something just came to my head. Do you know when I first met this guy? It was at an AJ fight, and I thought he was security. Because remember, you used to work security.
Yeah. And
I don't know why we used to be like, say you're right, I didn't know each other. Like, you're right, like, respectful.
Oh, so you'd seen him in security previously?
Yeah, he was always on the side of the ring. And I used to think, fucking hell, he's a big lad, him, ain't he? But then fast forward a few years, he's like, hold on, watching the TV, like, that's the guy that used to be at the side of the fucking, but he was earning a few quid, ain't it, on the side.
I was just trying to hustle, man. And you know what, it was like, that security gig was like, if you're clever about things, like I was trying to be, I just wanted a 1 foot in the door, you know, the professional boxing. I just loved it. I thought I could get the best experience in the house. I was the kid, I used to pay for a ticket in the gods and sneak to ringside anyway. But I couldn't really sneak. I just
Jibber.
Taught you when to ringside.
Doing the post-fight interviews when you got a ticket in the
as you do
in the clouds.
But yeah, I just had the best job in the world. I used to be able to sit on the side of the ring. I used to get my little help the ring girls up to the ring, you know, get my little.
I remember that, but you said you had a missus, so I wanted to leave it alone.
That's all right. No, but yeah, man, that was good times.
I was going to say, when it comes to the security gigs, obviously I used to do stuff with IFL, and when I was at IFL, we'd go back and watch some like the old videos. So like your Frotch Groves, head-to-heads, press conference kickoffs, probably involving Del Boy or something like that. And front and centre a lot of the time would be security Andy, who's still in the game. So there's a lot of like old boxing videos out on the net.
Big Andy, man.
Where it's two big lads going at it, and then you're kind of there trying to.
Yeah, when you're a bit young, you're trying to keep the peace. You know, when you're a bit younger and you work in security, you're looking for a row, really. Do you know what I mean? I was one of the nice ones, to be honest. I wasn't.
Like, surely you can't get in like when you was, because this was while you was on Team GB as well. You can't, as a Team GB boxer, be getting in serious rows.
Nah, because I can remember eventually Rob McCracken come to me and he goes, you got to leave that alone, mate. He's like, obviously he was involved in the boxing world, so he knew everything. He was like, you know, you hear the stories of Sir Alex Ferguson, whatever you did, he knew. You know, if I was working the weekend or there was a kick-off at the boxing, he knew. And he'd be like, you can't be doing this, mate. You can't be going out causing trouble. Like, you got to keep your head down. Team GB, blah, 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 blah. So eventually I had to stop, because I can remember one weekend, I think there was a show, basically, Anthony Corolla boxed someone in Manchester, but Josh Warrington also boxed on the same card.
Yeah.
And that day, I think Leeds and Manchester United played, and obviously, and Derry Matthews was boxing as well. So there was Liverpool, Manchester United, and Leeds all in there.
That's asking for trouble.
And it was just the biggest kickoff ever. And it was a week before my ABA final. And next week I was boxing Joe Joyce in the ABA final. And I can remember it was just going off. And basically I'm thinking, I can't be throwing hands. Like, I need my hands for next week. And I can just remember being in the middle of this rumble, just no-handed, just nutting people and wrestling people, because I thought, I can't use my hands. But yeah, them days were just crazy, man.
When did boxing come into your life? Was it early on?
About 11, 12, yeah.
Was you kind of pushed towards it? Or?
No, not really. Just I had a load of little athletic friends that could do everything and were good at everything, and I was just little and fat and shit at everything. So I tried, but I tried
little fat Fraz back then.
Yeah, little fat Fraz. That was the name, mate, fat Fraz. So, but I tried everything, and then eventually I tried boxing. Obviously, you used to watch a bit of Mike Tyson. Every lad's dad wants them to do a little bit of combat, some sort of fighting. Do you know what I mean? So sort of went that way, and then, but it's gonna sound cliche, but you know, once I got in there and when I found it, it's the first thing out of all the lads, I was better than everyone else at this. I could hit the bag a bit harder. I could do it technically a bit better. And then from that, as a young man, when you get into sport as a young man, you know, confidence is a big thing. You know, once I started growing, all of a sudden I felt like, instead of this little fat kid, I was slowly just thinking, oh my God, like, this is me. I love this. Do you know what I mean? And you start getting a bit of pat on the back here and there, and people say, oh, you're good at this, you're good at this. that makes you feel $1 million. And when you're a young kid, like 11, 12, 13, like, you buzz off it.
Yeah, you just mentioned obviously fighting Joyce in the ABAs. 2016, obviously you was kind of overlooked for Joe.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? Because I feel like all of these bits now that you've had to deal with before make what we spoke about earlier, like the loss.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I'm used to a bit of...
I've lost before, you see.
Yeah, do you get what I mean?
And I think in life, one thing you can't ever think is you got to win all the time, because no one does. I don't know anyone that goes undefeated in life, but that's not just sport. That's just on day to day. You know what I mean? The thing with Joe was, I'd boxed him a couple of times. This is one of the worst stats in my boxing life. I've boxed Joe Joyce 4 times. I've never had a hand raise yet. Oh my God, it makes me sick.
No.
I got the fight got stopped once because he fractured my cheekbone. The same injury that Fabio did, Joe Joyce did. That was years ago. Another one, I got stopped, and then the other 2 I lost on points, which I thought I won one of them. But 2016, we'd boxed in the ABA final 2015 or 14, I think, and then the Olympics is like 2 years away. So Joe's already like a little bit ahead of me. But I'm thinking, right, I've got 2 years or a year, whatever. I've just got to go to every competition and do whatever I can to get above him. So I said to I spoke to Ron McCracken. I was like, look, listen, if there's any fights anywhere in the world, send me. I want to prove myself. No worries. So they sent me to tournaments. I went on an unbelievable winning spree. I didn't lose. I was winning and winning and winning. 5 or 6 gold medals in a row. Probably 20 fights undefeated. But at the same time, as I'm doing that, Joe's fighting as well, and he's just winning as well. So no matter how much I won, I couldn't close that gap. Do you know what I mean?
So would you say it was expected?
Yeah, I wasn't like, it wasn't unexpected, but it was still devastating because I knew that I was good enough to go to them Olympics, because some of the people that had already qualified from all around the rest of the world, in that period of me winning their medals, I'd beat loads of them. Yeah. The guy that won it, Tony Yoka, the year before, I'd beat him. You know. Probably 12 months before the Olympics, I'd beat him. So it was like... And then before that, I had the thing with Joshua in the 2012 cycle. And I just thought, this isn't going to be, is it? This just isn't meant to be. Even though I really wanted to be an Olympian, do you know what I mean? It meant a lot to me, so...
Was there a little bit of your brain nudging you, and probably not what you was on about with Joshua, but in terms of the 2016 decision with Joe, was there a little bit then in your brain nudging you, going, why not just turn over?
Yeah, because obviously then as well... social media was a bit more involved. You're putting a bit on here. You get the odd promoter you're following you. I'm doing the security as well. So I'm at all the shows, so the promoters are knowing who I am. People say, oh, he's a boxer. I had the odd call. Would you like to turn pro? The odd offer. And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to turn pro, you know. If it wasn't, again, I'll mention this guy a lot as we're talking. As it wasn't for Ron McCracken, I'd have gone this one day then and there, because... someone offered me some money to turn pro, and at that time, when you ain't got nothing, that was a lot of money. I was like, I'm gone.
Is that someone's name begin with an E or an F?
I'm not gonna say. It wasn't the E. It was a representative of someone for the F. Yeah.
Okay.
There was someone said, I can get you this from him for this. So I've said.
All you boxing cryptics out there.
Yeah, you're quite easy one. Yeah.
One or two.
Yeah.
So that's not hard.
Well, at the time, them two were the
of course.
guys, you know what I'm saying? So I just thought, I'm going to go. My daughter was just being born, 2016, so I got him skinned. I thought, I need to go and earn some money. Because I thought there's loads of money to be earned in pro boxing. Little did I know, it's a bit of a bullshit, do you know what I mean? You got to do really well to earn money in boxing.
Yeah.
Says a man who just come off of Riyadh season.
Yeah, well, thank God. I worked hard to get there, but Riyadh season...
I guess back then, people would probably have presumed that if you had turned over, because of your amateur standing as well, and okay, you weren't an Olympian yet, but because of your time spent in GB...
Grand around.
Yeah, people probably presume that you were getting thrown even a set fee just to sign a piece of paper. Yeah,
not like... At that point, I wasn't expecting no sign-on fee. If I got a grand around... and 4 fights the first year, I was buzzing with that. That was sort of what was going around. Do you know what I mean? That was like the going rate for someone just coming off GB.
I was going to ask you that. What is a going rate? Not not yours, just in general, because I think there's a massive misconception of what boxers actually earn.
Yeah. Everyone's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
I don't know now. I mean,
but I'm on about in your day. So let's say 20. Let's go back 10 years. Let's go 2014.
So I think
2015 times.
From what I was hearing, the whispers of some of the other lads that were turning over, some of them were asking for a signing on fee. Now that usually came for the ones that got a medal at the Olympics.
Okay.
And then other than that, it was a grand around and ticket sales. That was what I was hearing, and that was the whispers. But again, when you're skinny, you got nothing, you're thinking.
But that's massive, of course.
That's more than if I fight this many times a year. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing.
And it was a grand around, and I make these last 4, 6, 8.
No, but the thing is,
but on the flip side, you don't want to make them last because you want to be explosive and let everybody know.
That's what I'm saying. But no, it just was one of them. Like, you don't understand the money until you're involved in it. And I say this to all the amateurs now. Like, obviously, all the young kids want to turn pro now. And there's a lot more money in boxing now because obviously Riyadh season and all the promoters are working together. So there is more money in it. But I say to a lot of kids, if you can go and earn as much money working in Tesco's as you can being a pro boxer, go to Tesco. I know it's your dream and stuff, but the game is not for the faint-hearted. Right. It isn't for the faint-hearted because remember, there's an opportunity as well. Not everyone gets opportunity. Mm-hmm. How many you're around boxing? How many people do you know that are begging for a fight? And that's that's not even on a big card. That's just they just want to get out and fight.
Mate, I must have had since I started 5 years ago 400-500 like sales pitch type interviews where you'll interview someone who's on the small hall circuit or looking to turn pro, and they will literally look down the lens and go, Eddie, Frank, Ben Shalom, Scott, anyone. Yeah. They'll literally look down the lens and half beg for an opportunity.
And I get it because
and admit that they're not really going anywhere if they don't have this opportunity.
And I just think like just what you were saying, 2016, I found a few similarities. Like when my first son was born, I was going through contract negotiations. As you say, when you've got nothing, if someone's putting 5, 10, 20 grand in front of you, you feel like a millionaire. Even though you don't think, well, I got to pay taxes, I got to do this, got to do that. Yeah, but remember, it's so hard for you to change it.
All this taxes and stuff. Remember this, like I've been a pro now like 2.5, 3 years. I was on Team GB till I was 30, getting a grant, tax-free grant. I didn't have a fucking clue what tax was till a few years ago. Did not have a clue, mate. Did not have a clue. Till I was 30, didn't pay zero tax.
That's mental, because I would assume, being with GB, and the people you're around, I don't know why, maybe it's just an ignorant bit for me that you would get some form of like education alongside it. You know, I know you get your boxing education system, but like when you come into it, there's taxes, there's this, there's that.
But these things need to happen going forward because the amount of people that come out of the situation I was in with Team GB, just uneducated as to the real world. Like I felt a bit uneducated in the sense of I had a good mum and dad and I sort of knew I could look after myself anyway. But, you know, I know certain people that you go onto that program, you're getting fed, you're getting housed for nothing as well. Mm-hmm. And then if that stops, you go into the real world, it's like, shit, what do I do now? Do you know what I mean? It's not an easy, like, process to turn from a top-class amateur into a pro. And remember, that's only if that works out. It's rare it works out, you know, for some people. I think the percentages are low. I think something like 5% of boxers can afford to train full time without working. I think it's something ridiculous like that. Something really low. So I've heard.
When you think about how much punishment you take as well, and what it takes just to get to a fight as well, preparation, manager, cut men, etc. Fucking hell, that's mad.
Mental. Just in terms of that time around 2016, I know that was quite a tumultuous time, I guess you could call it, because you spoke about the birth of your daughter. Being overlooked by Joe for the Olympics, and it was around that time that you got stabbed as well.
So that was
in the neck and in the leg. I remember being young and hearing about it.
That was that was wet in the baby's head. That was 2 weeks after. That was 2 weeks after she was born. Yeah, that was drink up in my dad's man cave, and I knew it was going to turn mad. As soon as white rum comes out, it always turns like that and dark liquor. You know, Hennessy. And I just knew it was at my dad's, and there's a few of us around, and we're drinking all that. And as soon as that come out, I just knew this is early on, and now I'm talking this is the pre-wave. So I'm thinking this ain't gonna go well.
Is it one of them where sometimes you know when you're on a session and you take a step back and go,
no, because when I look back now,
there's a lot going on in here. Probably a bit too much considering it's 6:30.
When I look back now at the amount that me and the boys used to drink before we went out. It's impossible. I could never do that now. You know, to touch the top shelf before you go out. Not beers, I'm talking top shelf. That bottles used to get left, and I come back the next day and think, oh my God, how has people got through that? Do you know what I mean? But it did, and just a really sad time. Now, the more I think about it, the older you get, and the more you realise what could have been, you know, in terms of having kids, and your daughter seeing my daughter grow up. Scary night, mate. Just went out on a normal night to Burton-on-Trent. There's like 2 clubs even.
Definitely a pot world.
Yeah, like,
it's definitely a pot world in there.
Cheese room.
Yeah, 100%.
And that, and I went in the place I've been going in every week since I was like 15, 16. I know, you know, every single person in there, apart from one group of people who I knew, and they were from Derby, which is down the road. And you always have, you know, like
ego off.
You always have this, like, obviously when there's another town or city that's close to you, you know a few baddies from there. They know you and your boys. You have that like little rivalry. Like with Burton, it's usually like Tamworth, but this time it was Derby. And there was not. I walked in there and just could feel like a little bit of tension. You know, like without there was nothing going on, and I made a conscious effort. I said, "Stay away from these lot." You know, tonight, stay away from these lot. And I did until there's probably half an hour left before everyone booted out, and
it's always that last hour, bro.
Yeah,
that last hour.
Should have been out of there really, and then I think a knocked over drink turned into a fight, which turned into me getting stabbed 3 times
in the neck as well.
In the neck, and then in the leg twice, in the arse. Yeah, so that was just a. And it's only
these knifed up, not bottles.
No, knife. Yeah.
What's the first thing that rushes through your head when you know? Because obviously, I can imagine there's like mad adrenaline and blood here, blood. What's the first thought that rushes through your mind?
I didn't know. I thought I had a fight. I thought it was the swingers. And I knew that I was having a fight with like there was me, and I knew there was like 3 or 4 of them. And I knew I was proud of myself. I got a few good shots off. I took a few people out. Do you know what I mean? But I knew it got like mad as like. Glasses falling everywhere, tables going over, girls screaming. And this happened with me and them, and all my boys were at the back. So I've sort of made my way to the back to tell everyone, look, come, I've just had a fight with these guys, you know, do whatever. As I'm going out there, I've seen one of my sister's friends. She's just screaming at me, And I'm getting close. I was like, what's up? She's like, your neck.
Pissing
I'm like this. I'm like, oh shit, I'm pissing with blood, do you know what I mean? Next thing, security come and grab me. But I remember this is in Burton, so I know everyone from security to the people behind the bar to the people that own the clubs. Security go, Frazer, man, you've been stabbed, man. You've got to get you to the hospital quick. And then I'm walking, and I'm thinking, oh man, my legs hurt. And he looked at my jeans, and my jeans are just they're like wet the whole way down. And then the neck didn't become a concern because it was my leg. You know, like you know when you have like a tap. It was like just.
It's the big artery as well in your legs, isn't it?
No way. So then. Obviously, there's a lot of drink involved as well, so there's tempers flaring. My friends are angry and lashing out at people. Anyway, I end up in a hospital, and then that's when my mum and dad have been woke up, my brothers come, people, friends, family, everyone's turned up at the hospital. And I even see the nurses to this day. She come up to me probably a couple of years ago, she goes, you don't remember me, do you? Who are you? She said, yeah, I was one of the nurses that was trying to hold you down because I was just angry. You know, I was just really angry that I just kept thinking about little Mila at home. She's like 2 weeks old. I'm just thinking, oh my God, I didn't know I was going to die. Do you know what I mean? I thought, oh my God, I've let her down big time. You know, I shouldn't have even gone out. Again, I'll mention him again. I went back to Team GB after that. You know what Ron McCracken said to me? I thought he was going to have a bit of sympathy for me. He goes, nah, because you got to choose where you go, mate. You got to be more wise about where you go. The places you go and the people you hang around with are going to determine the way your life goes. And he was right.
Was that your, like, what do they call it? Like a road to Damascus moment then, where you kind of go, almost like looking in the mirror and going, shit, this is bad. Yeah, no, when you're a dad, man, you have to come off all that foolishness big time. Because I can remember being young and thinking, first thing I was thinking, I want revenge, you know what I mean? I can remember going over to Derby a couple of times and seeing a couple of these people and thinking, I'm gonna smack the fuck out of these people. I can remember a brief conversation with one of them, and basically it was either him or one of his friends said, you do know that you're massive, you do know there isn't going to be a fight,
you do know if you want to carry this on, you're getting jumped up again, basically.
Yeah.
And that's when I think I've grown up a little bit because my pride just said to me, "Oh, forget it, mate. I've got a daughter, mate. Fuck that, forget it."
I've been quiet there because I see loads of similarities with what you say, like tear up beforehand, drinking tear up before you go out. Obviously, with my situation, I had that feeling. You know when you say like before you went out, you was like felt something's a bit dodgy.
Oh, my dear.
When you're out, you like feel something's a bit dodgy. But there's something. It's like this little angel on your shoulder, going, "Come on, son, get home." And you'll go, "Nah, I'm sad. And then you go into that, and obviously your situation, you end up getting stabbed. It's just like there's a moment, Etna, when you're on your own. I'm saying my experience, but it might be different. When you're on your own and you're like, is this what it's all cracked up to be? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Did you ever have that moment?
Loads of times, like, I think especially when you're from a small town like me, you go to the same place week in and week out for years. Sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Friday, Saturday, sometimes just a Saturday. And it probably took me longer than it should have to stop doing that. You know, them habits.
I guess it takes you by surprise when you're in a place you know.
Yeah, because honestly, you know, Burton, I just feel safe there at all times. You know, because you know that many people. Like the whole place, I feel like is my home. So I didn't think that could ever happen to me there. So I took more by surprise. You know what I mean? Than anything. But the places you go, like I say, and the people you go with, and the areas you're gonna go, they're gonna determine how things go. Do you know what I mean? If you go to mad places, I used to get a thrill off going to mad places. You know, I used to get a thrill off.
What do you define mad places as? Because I feel like this could be. Where are you? Are you Chelmsley Wood?
No. Like when I went,
I feel like we might end up saying.
We're going to say the same.
What was that one on the corner of the Arcadian?
Mono Bar.
Mono.
Yeah, that was in there.
What was it? The
Rococo.
Numbered. The one with the numbers.
Numbers.
Was it
101.
101.
Yeah.
I've only been there, I went there a few times, and every time I went,
terrible.
Madnesses, you know, with people. But then, obviously, I'm from Burton. I'm thinking a madness to me is a fight with people.
Yeah.
After being in there, getting into it, someone said, "No, you need to go. That man was going to get a gun." Do you know what I mean? Like these things are right. So there's madnesses in Burton, and then there's madnesses in Brum, and then you come to London.
There's madnesses,
different levels. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that brings us on perfectly to something that happened.
We're talking Lara with her guns.
I know it was her dad who was going to get the gun. Again, I feel like it's been a little bit of a quite a down, somber.
But it's about to get worse. I know where you're going.
It's about to get worse. You talk about that happening in, say, little old Burton. Come to the big smoke. Team GB, was it you, Pat McCormack, Callum French? And you're one of the main witnesses to the Westminster terrorist attack. Yeah, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, people started to not hang around because they said, "Yo, you're just true, mate."
There's a bad luck that surrounds this man.
This is not even funny, but people say wherever you go, like
bad shit
happens. You know what I mean? But that was obviously on a serious note. That was like the older you get, the more you realise. At the time, it probably just went over my head a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But shocking, man. Like I was just there. We were just there for a press conference. Came out, and at this point, you know, I didn't come to London that often. So anytime you come to London, you like get excited. London's mad. Do you know what I mean? It's different to where I live.
Absolutely.
It's busy. It's wild. There's
too much at times.
Everything going on. Yeah. But we obviously Frenchie and Pat there from Newcastle. So for them and me to come to London, it was a big deal back then. Do you know what I mean? And it was just fast paced. When I thought of London, I thought it's a fast pace. So I can remember coming out of the Westminster. And I heard beep, 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 beep. And I felt like the volume was like heightened, you know, like just the general crowd volume. But I didn't even think nothing of it. It's like a Thursday, Friday afternoon. You just think, that's just London. Do you know what I mean? Because we've been there a few times now and everyone's excited. And then we're just walking out, messing about, just being lads. You know, we're fighting the next day or a couple of days' time. And then coming out, we're looking to the left and people are running. But again, this is afternoon in London, people in a rush. I didn't think nothing of it. It's only when I seen some police officers come round the corner, you're like fast, like running. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. I keep looking the same way and walking towards the gate. Next thing you know, well, God bless his soul, the poor police officer come around the corner and there's just one guy with just two like Rambos just stabbing into his head and his back and his neck and then he's managed to break free and run off and he just landed like 2 or 3 meters away from us. He just landed on the floor. And this guy's just waving these big knives around. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Next thing, out of nowhere, some guy in a black coat just walked through, pulled out a gun and just bam, bam, just twice in his chest. And he just dropped down dead on the floor. And there's just screams and shouts. It all went a bit slow. And it was like, is this fucking really happening? Do you know what I mean? Then we got took into Westminster and the doors got locked. And I'm thinking, no, this is like a fucking movie. This can't be real. That's it. We was in there for 8 hours. Armed police had come in, everyone down, blah, blah. I think they're worried about the terrorist threat in the building.
Don't know who you've pulled in kind of vibe yet.
I didn't know at this point, we didn't know what happened on the bridge. I seen a little bit on the TV. Then I'm on the phone to my mum. Mum, I'm at Westminster. Put the news on what's going on. I can't really see much. Where are you? Oh, you're Westminster. There's a terrorist attack. Next thing, everyone's phones have gone blank.
They just cut it off.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, this is deep. Nah, I'm starting to get panicking now. You know, even though you're young, you're not daft, you know what I mean? So then you're looking around, you're thinking, I'm in a fucking bad place here. So I was in there for about 8 hours.
So they used like a signal blocker to...
Yeah,
I guess the group you was in, they looked in, they probably presumed that if we've dragged someone in, someone's still communicating.
Yeah,
try and get into...
Anything.
Obviously, it's a big building, isn't it? And you know, like the way that obviously what happened on the bridge, you know, all them poor people, like they got ran down and stuff, and then the poor police officers outside. I think obviously in one of them high risk situations, they just have to take every precaution, and you know they did a good job. To be fair, obviously I understood it. Obviously now I'm older, I think they had to do what they had to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
fuck yeah,
mad, mate. Rest in peace.
Yeah, Keith Palmer, man. Yeah, he was like obviously. Again, being older than that, he was a father. You know, now I know that he was a father. He had his kids and that, man. It was sad, mate. Because I got a shout out to one of my boxing trainers, Tony. He jumped straight over the barrier, started trying to give CPR to the guy, and that's traumatized him for a long time. He was in a bad way, you know. And he tried his best, but obviously the guy couldn't be helped. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, what a harrowing story.
Absolutely.
So should we talk about the 2020 Olympics?
Yeah, let's go something a bit positive.
The 2020 Olympics now, a massive achievement to get there, an even bigger achievement to medal. But were you slightly disappointed that it was a COVID-stricken Olympics?
Oh, again, like, you know, I don't want to sound like the most negative person in the world, but...
And I don't want to take away from your achievement.
But things just don't seem to go my way. Like, obviously, this time now, I'm primed them for the Olympics. I think then I was competing with another Birmingham lad, Solomon. You know, he's like then, so it's me and him, like sort of 1 and 2. But obviously, I got the nod, and I'm buzzing. And we're down in London. The qualifier is in London. It's at the Copper Box. So I'm buzzing. Like we're down here. First day of the tournament. Galal's boxed once. I think Peter McGrail boxed. Then we're back in the hotel. Stratford. Group message come on the group chat. Oh, everyone's to the first floor. We need a meeting it straight away. Oh, there's been a thing. There's a virus going around. COVID. Everyone's gonna have to go home. They're cancelling the tournament. What? No, surely not. So anyway, that's happened. All gone home. Next thing you know, we're all locked up for 2 years or whatever it was. Yeah. Then it's COVID. So I'm just thinking, again, this can only happen to me. Do you know what I mean? So then, obviously, because obviously being in the elite sport, we was one of the lucky ones. We got to go back to Sheffield before everyone else went back to working. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, there's like loads of restrictions. So one trainer in the gym with one athlete at a time, and obviously there's like 20 people on the squad. So logistically, it was a bit mad for a few months. Obviously, you're staying in apartments, but not with your teammates. One apartment per person, one hotel room per person. Obviously, you're boxing, training in a mask.
That's
You're training in a mask.
Training in a mask, yeah. And
did you
the coach
have to do that?
No, we was outside, weren't we?
Yeah, it's different.
Cool.
We was outside.
Inside the building.
Course,
So yeah, it was So it was just a crazy time. And then obviously,
I take it that includes no sparring. As well.
No sparring, no. Just basically fit. And to keep us fit, I can remember when it first went to COVID, they're doing everything they can. They sent to my house what bike.
Oh.
They sent which I've still got. I've still got.
I feel like everyone went through the phase of cycling.
Yeah, so
what bike?
And then they said obviously we had our individual strength and conditioning programs, which we was doing over Zoom with one of the coaches.
Yeah.
So they sent us obviously the equipment, proper gym equipment. Do you know what I mean? I had my mate who works with Wood and that. He made me up a makeshift squat rack. You just obviously at this point you're doing whatever you can, to train outside because the weather was banging in COVID. Don't you think? Can you remember?
It's better than it's ever been since I've been alive.
So I said because no one's driving, no planes, like minimal planes. I'm not a pollution guy, but clearly,
I can't believe the good weather that we had during the COVID period has just been broken down to me by you, Troy.
Yeah, that's why I got the glasses on today. But you know what? We had the same thing as well. We was trying to go back and training, like listen to your trainer through like a laptop or an iPad. You were just like, I don't know. He's like, he's in his house. He's going, yeah, come on, 3 more, 2 more. You're like, just mute that. They're gonna do that.
I had it a lot. I mean, obviously at this point,
we weren't training for Olympics, so we were trying to get back.
At this point, I just didn't think the Olympics were going to happen. To be fair, I thought it wasn't going to happen. But we had a bag in the garage, and you're doing Zoom punching sessions. But I was taking a piss. I used to come into I used to say like, oh wait there 1 minute, let me just finish my can of beer, carry on training. I just didn't think it was going to happen. And then went back to Sheffield. Obviously, it got a bit more serious.
When you was in Burton, sorry to interrupt you. Was it Burton? Did you have like space like outside?
Yeah.
Because obviously, when you go to Sheffield, it's more. If I remember correctly, it's quite in a town, and it's in the town.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you had restrictions of where you could have went.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really when you was in Sheffield, you couldn't move.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Well, obviously, where I live is fields fucking.
Yeah, that's the same as me. That's the only way I got my missus to move up. We was in London at the time, and again, the restrictions were harder. And I had a place in Warwick, and I was like, because it's locked down before it locks down. It felt it was coming. Remember?
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
Like let's go back there, and we had the space, and it just felt nicer.
It was what it. I can't imagine what it would have been like in a city. Like in lockdown. At least where I live. There was that thing about you can exercise outside or you can go for a run, you go for a walk. There's just like ample place to do that where I live. There's just like fields and moors and stuff, for days, rivers, and you just go big walks and stuff. So that was quite a blessing, to be honest.
Yeah. And then the Olympics actually comes round.
Yeah. So I qualified in Paris. Basically, the draw that happened in London carried on. That same draw.
They moved that to Paris?
To Paris, right. 12 months later, wherever it was. So you box the same people you got to box in London. You box the exact same people. Draw happened, qualified, got to Paris. And this was like my time to shine. So I had my first fight, won, which was fantastic. And this is what I mean about, I don't feel like I've ever had a moment in boxing yet. My moment, do you know what I mean? Because I qualified, but I qualified through a disqualification. I boxed a crazy Frenchman called Murad Aliyev, and he headbutted me a few times. Then he wouldn't leave the ring.
Yes.
So there was a big kickoff, like he wouldn't leave the ring.
I feel like that was everywhere on social media.
Yeah, but it went crazy. Because obviously then I've been won, which is guaranteed me a bronze medal, which I was just buzzing about. I got my medal. That's why I went for my medal. Yeah. Went for the gold, but I went for my medal. But obviously during that fight, I've had I had to have stitches on both eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He's got disqualified. So when I've had this thing in my head for years, as soon as I know that I've won my fight to get my medal, I was thought about the celebration, mate, the falling to the knees, the crying, the looking at the sky. It just wasn't that kind of moment.
You didn't get your Rocky moment.
It was like, it didn't happen. And then the next fight, I'm going into the fight, but I've got stitches in both eyes, and I thought, I'm at the Olympics. I've got to go and do it. I've got to give my all. And I did. I fought the guy that won it, Jalalov, the
Beast,
Uzbekistan.
Jalalov,
Fought him. I mean, got stopped in a second because he opened up another cut. I give him a standing can. I give my all. Went out on my shield. Tried to kill him. Basically, it wasn't. I can remember going out to that fight, and we had with a GB. It's like very tactical. Like go and do this. I can remember saying to the coaches, "Look, I've got cut here. Can I go out and just try? Can I just try and fucking throw some bombs at this already favourite for the gold medal.
Yeah.
So there's no point in me going out to try and box this guy. Let me just go and fucking try and take his head off. I did my best. Give him a standing count. That was my achievement. Got the he obviously the referee started the fight because I was bleeding. Like there's pictures of me all over the internet. I had blood on my face. And that was the last time I threw a punch as an amateur boxer, man. And that was a massive career and the biggest part of my life to date. Do you know what I mean? I can remember looking up in the crowd at my teammates, the coaches, obviously Ron McCracken, Lee Pull and Dave Alloway, people that I respected like my dad, as much as my dad. That's what I'm telling you. Like that's how close I was to these guys, and a beautiful moment, beautiful memories, man. It lasted me a lifetime.
Did you know you was going to retire?
That was my last amateur fights. Yeah,
even if you went bad, the decision was made before you went in.
I was getting to the stage where I need to turn pro. I need to try to earn some money, and I'm getting older. You got a window. Do you know what I'm saying?
Of course. The reason I was asking that is, did you go in there with like freedom?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like this just got to go out of my shield.
There's a picture of me somewhere with my arms like this. I've lost the fight. My arms are spread, and I've got the biggest smile on my face. I've lost the fight. Olympic semi-final. I've lost it. But I knew I'd give me everything. I knew I'd give me all. That was my last moments in the boxing ring as an amateur boxer with a vest on, wearing the Team GB gear, which I was just mad proud about as well, by the way, because little fat kids from Burton don't go on to represent their country. The Olympics.
I hear that.
I was just so happy about it, man, and it was just a great part of my story.
Yeah, man, I love the way that, like you said, with your fight against Jalalov, it was just kind of forget the tactics, put some batteries in the back, find him out, send him out, and see what happens.
Have a go because I'd beat him a few years before, This is when he was a kid and he'd not really burst onto the scene. And I beat him when I was a bit older than him, because I'm 2 years older than him, I think. And I'd beat him then, but I even went in that fight, I thought, this motherfucker's going to be good. About a year and a half later, I ended up sparring him in Uzbekistan. There's some videos all over the internet. Someone put a cheeky video on. I'm sparring the Uzbekistan number 2 for a couple of days. I'm thinking, buzzing, I was not here. And I'm beating this guy up. Third day of sparring, who turns up? Fresh, not fresh, not in a training camp, fresh. Jumped in there. I thought, oh my God, here we go. He's come out of there, he's put me on my arse straight away. Do you know what I mean? The video's gone all over the internet, do you know what I mean? But he's a good fighter. He's a good guy, actually. As well.
It's a naughty little tactic, isn't it? If I turn up a couple of days later, I might catch him.
Turn up into the camp after I've done the full camp. I'm talking, we're training 3 times a day in the Uzbek mountains, living in a prison camp, no Wi-Fi, no TV, no phone signal.
Yeah.
And he's turned up, and he had bad intentions, and he fucking bad, man.
There's a question, how do you know when someone's good? So in football, we know because there's certain things that they do that you can't do. You're just like, fuck me.
How quickly can you tell?
Seconds.
Okay.
But I'm just like, how do you know
intensity or something?
Yeah, just the way that they move. You're like, fuck, I've been training all week trying to do that and I just can't do it. But you can. How do you know in boxing, especially if you've never sparred that person before, like within a few seconds, I imagine.
So I think obviously you'll know, like I say, I imagine the same in football. Like hearsay gets around fast. Like when he's a good fighter, you need to keep a lookout for this guy. But when it was the amateur boxing, I was so ingrained on it. I knew every fighter at my weight from every country in the world.
Yeah,
I knew what results they had. I knew how they were boxing, when they were boxing. I knew it everywhere, actually. I knew from flyweight up to my weight, I knew every fighter. Because anytime I go to a tournament, I wouldn't just I'd sit and watch every fight because I'm just obsessed with amateur boxing. I love it. So I just had a mad, in my head, just a mad database of fighters. But when you know they're good, you just see them start picking up results at these tournaments and stuff. And I can remember seeing him a couple of years out thinking, he boxed Joyce in Rio. Joyce stopped him I think he beat him and stopped him in the third. I think he outported him in the third. And he gave Joyce a good first round. And I thought, this fucker's going to be good. He's only young. Especially these guys, they're still young. Same as Moses.
So you knew he was going to be in your cycle.
I'll give you a thing like a Moses Atuma. I remember seeing Moses Atuma, little Moses Atuma, and knowing, this kid's going to be a force in a few years. You know what I'm saying? You just get the knack, and when you know good fighters, you just know. I can tell you, the next ones are going to come through soon and going to be good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can we talk about you turning pro. So you turned pro at a time when the sort of broadcast landscape was changing because
I hit the jackpot, baby.
I was going to say,
you see the Hulk on his wrist, don't you?
No, he's made sure we can all see.
Oh no, come on, ain't like that.
Podcast plotted with his arm like that.
Ain't like that.
There's a reason I'm bare on each wrist. So yeah, I guess, well, yeah, you benefited. The rumours that were going around were the Olympians were getting paid big money. I know you won't want to yes or no this, or you can, but one of the rumours that I remember early was Ben Whittaker was getting paid a set fee of 7 figures just to sign a piece of paper.
I can just tell you that Ben Whittaker killed it, mate. That's
There
all
you
I
go.
can tell you. I just know, obviously, a teammate of mine is my boy. And he fucking done well out of it, man. And do you know what? You know, for everything you go through in an amateur boxing, which people don't really people don't give no one any credit for this. People think amateur boxing is a tippy tappy. You know, the injuries I had and the scars and the battles I've been through personally, mentally and physically, fucking every penny people like Ben and anyone else got was fucking
100%.
Deserved, mate.
Yeah.
Did you sign your deal? Well, again, we ain't got to go to the numbers. You signed your deal and you were like, yeah, thankful. Like the shoulders just go, thank fuck.
Obviously, it's just like, so Eddie leaves Sky, and that just opens up a new can of worms. So you got Eddie, Frank, and then you've got Ben Shalom, Sky, and basically it's just give leverage, you know, to the negotiating table. And I'm still a bit raw, a bit soft around the ears. I don't really know too much about too much. But I do know that this is going to work out a lot better for me than if Eddie was still at Sky.
Yeah.
So I've got a few offers off a few different people. You got Olympic bronze medal. It puts you in a bit of a position.
That's your weight, yeah.
Yeah, so it puts you in a bit of a position. I'm a heavyweight as well. This is going to sound... In the end, it wasn't really just the money that made me sway my decision to Sky. I've been watching Sky for years. I see my future as a pundit on Sky. You know, hopefully, you know, God willing. I like everything that Sky like represents as a broadcaster. And then I was speaking to Ben Shalom, and he spent, out of all the guys, this is no disrespect to Frank or Eddie because they've seen a million Frazer Clarkes come through the ranks. But Ben Shalom came to Burton, he came to see me, came to meet my parents, and I think that probably he came with Adam Smith at the time because he was at Sky, and I think that probably just swayed me a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I came down here, seeing Eddie, seeing Frank. And don't get me wrong, they still they offer me really good deals. But I think, you know, that little bit of personal touch, you know where I'm from, shaking my dad's hand and having a beer with my dad and having a conversation with my dad, that little personal touch just swayed it for me. And I just thought, it's a good broadcaster. I grew up watching Sky. I grew up watching Ricky Hatton fight on Sky. Loads of good fighters come through Sky.
They've got a massive role to play in there because you've got to think, say, you know, even last night, Liverpool-Tottenham. First leg of the League Cup semi-final.
Can't get away from it, can you?
Between, they're advertising Callum Simpson's
course.
British title defence this weekend.
Yeah.
So when you're on Sky, you're getting pushed.
Yeah, I always think when you're doing negotiations, from my point of view, from like media side now, you're always thinking Sky might not be the best money, but it's the most coverage, most eyes. And then what can you leverage that to... You know, different deals you could get outside of it as well.
Well, I think that's the way that my mum was working. I was trying to get business savvy because I never had to be, but I was trying to get business savvy in the sense of I don't go anywhere and not see Sky Sports on the TV.
Absolutely.
Now to have my face on that, again, a little fat kid from Burton, it must hold a little bit of weight. And, you know, obviously I like to talk about boxing. I like to talk boxing and stuff like that. So I just thought it'd be a good place for me. And you know what? I've got to say a big thank you to the people at Sky and the people at Boxer because my career has not been, even as a pro, it's not been straightforward, my career. You know, there's been a lot of criticism over the opponents at first.
Yeah.
And then there's been obviously the Fabio defeat.
The saga that went before it.
The saga
Purse
bids. So it's not been like straight shooting, do you know what I mean? But then again, that's not my life. My life's never been like that. So, but they've stuck behind me, and even going forward now, you know, I still feel like I've got a big role to play in the Sky boxing saga that goes on. Do you know what I mean?
Can I just ask? You said there in your looking at Sky contract, you saw an end goal, you saw an exit.
Yeah.
Has that always been the case? Like you always had an exit plan? Like I'm going to box for a certain amount of years, and then if I hit X, Y, Z, whatever that might be, world champion, whatever you set your targets at, then I'm going to go and do the commentary and the co-coms and all of that.
Yeah, I think it comes from my dad. You know, I think my mum and dad are very grounded, normal human beings, and when I first started boxing full time, I think they were a little bit against it. That I was supposed to go to and get an apprenticeship and get my papers. You ain't doing nothing till you got your papers. Mate.
Go old school. Yeah,
not like not mad education. Like, you know, I wasn't going to be a doctor. Or anything.
I was a brickie, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You ain't doing nothing until you get paid. Then I get this opportunity at like 17. Mum, I can go and box full time and get paid. I went, no. You should go and do your apprenticeship.
Have something to fall back on.
Something to fall back on. Yeah. But I'm not thinking like I don't care at that time. Do you know what I mean? But with this, obviously now I've got the kids. I'm thinking about my future. People talk about your favorite boxer, your favorite careers. I say this on camera and it boosts him up, and I don't like this too much. But, you know, Johnny Nelson, man, that's my guy, mate. That's my guy, mate. Listen,
Big Johnny
killed it in boxing. He's been getting paid since the day he retired, since the day he hung the gloves up.
Johnny's second career
is unbelievable. He is.
Right, we were talking about this the other day. You spoke about it when Adam came in, and I actually had both Adam and Johnny on camera in Riyadh.
Bad boy,
at a
mate.
press conference. OG ringside.
Johnny
Nelson has killed it.
Killed the game, mate. He's gone clear, mate. He's been getting paid proper since the day he stopped boxing, and he represents the company well.
He hasn't lost himself, though.
No, he hasn't lost himself.
He never comes across as a company man.
He's one of the boys, you know what I mean? So he's like someone I look up to big time, just on if my career is going to go one way. He was a world champion as well, so he's doing better than I'm doing in the ring. But I mean, just in terms of the longevity, I want to be involved in boxing a long time. I feel like I know what I'm talking about as well. I always try to learn. I like everything that Troy does outside of football. I have a chat with Troy after this, because I want to pick up on boxing. Don't last forever. Your career doesn't last forever. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. I think. Sorry, I was when I. Have you had that? You haven't had that moment professionally yet, boxing wise. Have you had that moment yet financially?
You know what? I'm happy with where I'm at. I live in a nice house now. I've got a.
Now, what I mean by that, let me rephrase the question. I mean, so with football, obviously ours is per week, right? Yeah. So I remember I had a contract that was like 180 quid when I was at Warsaw. Yeah. And I was like, this was sweet because I'm doing what I love. Like you at 17. Yeah. Then I got $5,000 a week. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is all right here, do you know what I mean? And then you go a little bit. And I remember saying to myself, if I ever got to 50k a week, I've cracked it. Do you know what I mean? Just the jobs. And then when I was fortunate enough to hit that, I was like, fucking hell. How much more can we get? Do you know what I mean? You start going into that. I just wondered whether you've ever set those little goals along the way and gone like,
well, I never used to think about money until because I used to know what I was getting.
Yes,
but then when you leave that system, you're just trying to. I'm trying to get the bag.
Yeah, absolutely,
get the bag, baby.
And that's what I mean. It's not like a throwing money at anybody. It's just like how our mindset is, isn't it?
My goal is this payment is going to be probably a one-time thing. So I think I can only give that reason to my signing on. I can remember having the conversation. And I can remember seeing the contract come through and the number. And this is after a few negotiations.
Yeah,
this after a few
back
times saying, no, that ain't the one. So this number that I was happy with in the end was more money than I think anyone in my family had seen in it, one load ever. So I was like, and I'm not saying it's like a huge life-changing money, but for me it was. It was like I can set myself up with this. I can go and get a house because I was 30 again. And I'm not saying there's got to be a time or an age you go and get yourself a house, but as you start seeing people around you, the guys that did go and get the apprenticeships, the Sparkies that have been qualified a few years now, the Brickies that got their own little thing going on, they're building their own little projects, they're starting to invest in houses and stuff like this and that. And I'm thinking, I've stayed on this grant money. I'm getting a fucking grand a month. I've stayed on that for how long, and that's a struggle.
Yeah.
But so eventually it was like, I can go and buy a house now. Do you know what I mean? I can go have a big massive mortgage. I can go and put a good. So I was just proud of myself, for that.
Absolutely.
Because people in my family, people in where I live, no one probably sees that kind of injection of cash ever. Do you know what I mean? So I was proud of it.
Yeah, just the final one because I'm aware we got to wrap up pretty soon. Weird way to wrap up actually talking about the start of your professional journey because this is quite a funny story. So it was Amir Khan Kilbrook, the undercard. You didn't have an opponent, or you did have, and your opponent pulled out.
It's fucking. Is that COVID again? Fucked it up. Man.
Then your opponent was at the open workout, watching the open workout
as a fan.
As a fan,
Yeah.
A licensed British Boxing Border Control license holder. Yeah.
And it basically,
how was the conversation gone ahead? Surely he hasn't just put his hand up and gone, oh, yeah.
So basically,
I'm in.
So basically, it's my debut, and I've done a load of tickets. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, people are waiting for the journey. And it's Kilbrook and Amir Khan more than that. It's like it's a fight people waiting for years. It's in Manchester. I don't care what you say. Manchester's right up there. You know, with fight times. Oh, it's buzzing, man. You know, it's in Manchester. Yeah. I'm at this open workout, and no one's trying to stress me out. You know, with the opponent business. But I mean, mate, you ain't got an opponent. But obviously, I've just signed with Sky. I've just signed with Boxer. They're making a big deal of me. You know what I mean? I'm like just before on the open workouts. I'm just before Kilbrook and Amir Khan. I ain't got no fucking opponent. And they say, look, we'll get someone. Next thing, I'm in the hotel. You know that one I use in Manchester.
The Crown Plaza.
Crown Plaza. Yeah. I'm come down the foyer, and obviously, I'm never not going to say no to having a picture, with the boxing fans because, man, like, it's just me. I'm having a picture of you geezer. I got on, this geezer's gone. Like, he's a little tubby geezer. He's like, I'm fighting you tomorrow, I think he's fucking joking. He's like, no, I'm fighting you tomorrow. Can I have a picture? Anyway, so I've gone back up to the room on my phone. Jake Darnell. He's like, I've YouTubed him. He's had like a few white collars. He never boxes a pro. Just got his pro license, and he's like, I was at the open workout yesterday. They've just ranked the.
He was sizing you up before you even knew.
Are you not thinking though, like from a professional standpoint? Obviously, the story's a bit fucked. Like, let's call it as is. But you're not thinking like, hold on, and it's meant to run a bit smoother than this.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a fucking farce, mate. But at them times, all I'm thinking is, I ain't got fucking man. I'm just trying to get my fucking money.
Yeah, I'll blast him off. Yeah,
I'm just gonna blast him and get my dough. Turns out that was his first professional fight. He turns out to be a really nice guy who I still speak to. We laugh about that story all the time.
Fought a few prospects.
That was his first. You know what? He's done now. He's retired.
Oh, is he?
He's retired. He's had 30-something fights since then. 30 fights. Obviously, as an away corner.
Yeah.
Made a few quid. I think it's helped him to pay his mortgage.
So it's a good story.
Happy days, Jake Darnell.
So
fair play to you, fella. Because he obviously he's not going to, in his whole life, he wouldn't have gone, I'm going to end up on a Sky show.
No.
And a massive show like that as well. Fair play to him.
He's a bit of a toughie, so he's ended up on a few good fights. I mean, he's had some fucking right hidings, but he's got in there. And
when he sat in his own bath though, mate, I bet he's like, it's fucking worth it.
Mate, don't worry about it.
What a pleasure, Frazer. I appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
Thank you, mate.
I just want to say as well, before we wrap this up, you're saying like you're from Burton, small town.
Yeah.
Always just remember, fucking, you've earned it. Don't ever let any of this bullshit and this nonsense, this social media shit. You've grafted, you've earned it, you've earned everything. You're a proud man, proud family man. Fucking
course, man. And you know what? They'll be. I'm just hoping to install the same belief that I have now into a few more kids. From like small towns.
Absolutely.
The city boys, probably in a lot of sports, they run away with it. But in boxing especially. There's some champions to come from earlier, but Swadling Coat, Burton on Trent. If the young lads ever end up watching this, don't let these city boys scare you, man. Especially when it comes to fighting, we can do our thing, mate.
It's got genuinely pleasure, mate.
No worries, appreciate it, guys. Serious.
And there we go.
Bang! You missed the ending. You got to do the Charlie Parsons. Fucking how does he say it? Like, subscribe, all that bollocks. Go on, you got to do it.
People like and subscribe anyway, don't they? They do.
Do you think, man?
Now, come on, don't panic now. This is you, down the camera, down the camera.
Apparently, I've absolutely butchered this, so I'll go again. Please like, subscribe to the Stomping Ground. This is episode... How many have you two done? Episode too many.
Yeah.
But episode number 2 with me on Beyond the Play. Frazer Clarke. Troy Deeney.
Do you know I'm going to kill you?
Thank you very much.
We got to do it again. Because you said it's episode number 2 with you and Big John's coming out before Frazer.
Yeah, episode 2 with me.
And you did New Year, which was what?
No, hosting.
As
a host.
Oh, nice.
I'm taking that.
Oh, yeah.